Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Had begun to settle around him in the tiny bedroom, binding the thick carpet, the light blue walls, and the mirrored closet door that now reflected him back. A stranger. 28, with pale eyes, dark stubble along his jawline, and a deep frown upon his narrow face. The thin blanket atop his double bed had been neatly stretched over the sheets like a well-pressed, spotless tablecloth in an empty, white-clothed, wooden restaurant. His body was stuck inside the crease, its room only expanding when the door opened. He got up, unsure where to place his limbs, so he began fidgeting to find his purpose for the day. God, don't let me lose myself, he thought. He walked to the far side of the room, where his desk was stationed with a laptop. He put on a pair of glasses, sat down, and brought his palms together in a praying gesture.
You have a purpose,
he pled, with his head tilted up to the ceiling, where thick layers of previous arguments and prayers were imprinted on the plaster.
How was your day?
Hunter leaned back in his chair, relaxing into their familiar rhythm. Renee launched into a story about her co-workers and their plans for the weekend. Melissa and I are having a girls' night tomorrow. Wine, facials, the whole 9 yards. That sounds fun. Hunter nodded, though he felt a small pang of something he couldn't quite name. Jealousy? Curiosity? I wish you could join, Renee said, sipping from a mug. Sometimes I just want to hang out with you like that, you know? Not always as boyfriend and girlfriend, but just as friends having fun. Hunter laughed, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. What? You want me to put on a dress and join your girls' night? He expected her to laugh it off, but instead, Renee's eyes lit up. Actually, that would be hilarious. And kind of amazing. I mean, why not? You can't be serious. Hunter felt his face flush. I am. Renee leaned closer to the screen. It could be fun. Just for the call. We could have our own long-distance girls' night. Hunter swallowed hard. Something about the suggestion made his heart race, but not entirely in a bad way. You really want me to dress up as a woman for our next call? Only if you want to, Renee said, her voice softening. It was just a thought. I'll think about it, Hunter replied, surprised at himself for not immediately dismissing the idea. After they ended the call, Hunter sat in silence, the suggestion echoing in his mind. He opened a new browser tab and stared at the search bar for a long moment before typing, "How to dress as a woman." The following afternoon found Hunter in a department store, feeling utterly out of place as he browsed through the women's section. He kept his head down, pretending to shop for a girlfriend or sister, though the few other shoppers seemed completely uninterested in his presence. His hands trembled slightly as he selected a pink satin blouse from a rack. The material felt smooth and cool against his fingertips, nothing like the stiff cotton of his usual button-ups. He added a pair of white skinny jeans to his basket, estimating his size as best he could. At a different store, he purchased a long auburn wig, telling the salesperson it was for a costume party. The woman behind the counter smiled politely and gave him tips on how to put it on properly. Back at his apartment, Hunter laid the items on his bed, staring at them as if they might vanish if he looked away. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the room, highlighting dust particles floating in the air. He picked up his phone. I'm going to do it, he texted Renee. Saturday night, girls' night. Her response came immediately. Yay! Yay! I'm so excited! Do you have a name picked out? The question caught Hunter off guard. A name? He hadn't thought that far. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as names floated through his mind. Something felt important about this choice, more significant than it should have been for what was supposed to be a joke.
Taylor,
he finally replied, the name emerging from some hidden corner of his consciousness. Saturday evening arrived too quickly. Hunter stood in his bathroom, the pink blouse and white jeans already on, studying his reflection with a mixture of fascination and anxiety. The clothes fit surprisingly well, though he'd needed to return the jeans for a larger size. He'd spent an hour watching makeup tutorials online and had purchased a basic kit, which now lay open on the counter. With unsteady hands, he applied foundation, concealer, and a touch of blush. The eyeliner proved challenging, resulting in several attempts and much cursing. Mascara went on more easily, and he finished with a pale pink lipstick that matched the blouse. The wig was the final touch. Hunter carefully positioned it on his head, adjusting until the long auburn locks framed his face. He stared at the transformation, barely recognizing himself. The person in the mirror looked softer, more vulnerable somehow, yet there was something undeniably right about the image. Taking a deep breath, Hunter, or rather Taylor, made her way to the laptop and initiated the call. Renee's face appeared, her expression shifting from casual greeting to wide-eyed surprise. "Oh my God," she breathed. "Hunter, you look... wow." Taylor smiled nervously. "Is it okay? Do I look ridiculous?" "No, not at all." Renee leaned closer to the screen. "You look beautiful, actually. I can't believe how well you did this." "I watched some tutorials," Taylor admitted, tucking a strand of the auburn wig behind her ear in a gesture that felt strangely natural. "Well, hello then," Renee said with a playful smile. "It's nice to meet you, Taylor." Something shifted inside at the sound of that name, spoken aloud for the first time. A door opening to a room that had always existed, but remained unexplored. "It's nice to meet you too," Taylor replied, her voice softer than normal. The evening progressed into one of the most enjoyable video calls they'd ever shared. Renee taught Taylor how to properly apply eyeshadow. They discussed fashion, and Renee shared stories about her own experiences with makeup mishaps and clothing disasters. "You know," Renee said as the night wound down, "you make a really pretty woman." Taylor felt her cheeks flush with pleasure at the compliment. "Thank you. This was different than I expected." "Different good or different bad?" "Different good," Taylor admitted. "Really good, actually." After ending the call, Taylor didn't immediately remove the makeup or change clothes. Instead, she moved around the apartment, experiencing how it felt to walk, sit, and gesture in this new presentation. The weight of the wig, the gentle swish of the blouse, the slight restriction of the skinny jeans, all created a physical experience unlike anything she'd known before. When she finally did remove everything, returning to Hunter's appearance felt like putting on an ill-fitting suit. The next morning, Hunter woke with the memory of being Taylor lingering like a dream. He texted Renee, "Had fun last night. Thanks for not thinking I'm weird." Her response came quickly. "Nothing weird about it at all. Taylor should visit again sometime." Over the next few weeks, Taylor did indeed visit again. What began as a monthly occurrence soon became weekly. Each time, the preparation grew more elaborate, the outfits more varied, the experience more natural. 3 months after that first call, Hunter found himself in a vintage clothing store, drawn to a floral dress with a modest neckline and flowing skirt. The shop owner, a woman with silver hair and kind eyes, approached. "That would look lovely on you," she said, matter-of-factly. Hunter froze, waiting for judgment or mockery, but found none in her expression.
It's not for me,"
he stammered. The woman's smile never faltered. "Whoever it's for, they have good taste. The dressing rooms are in the back if you'd like to check the fit." Hunter hesitated only briefly before taking the dress to try on. Inside the small dressing room, Taylor emerged once more. The floral pattern complemented her auburn wig, and the cut of the dress created the illusion of curves where none existed.
"How did it work out?"
the shop owner asked when Hunter emerged.
"I'll take it,"
he said, not bothering with the pretense anymore. That dress became the first of many. Soon, a section of Hunter's closet held Taylor's growing wardrobe. Casual dresses, blouses in various colors, skirts both flowing and fitted, though the pink satin blouse remained a favorite. A small makeup collection expanded on his bathroom counter. The auburn wig found a proper stand beside his bed. During a video call 6 months after that first girls' night, Renee noticed something different. "You seem more relaxed as Taylor," she observed. "More yourself somehow." Taylor nodded, fingering the pendant necklace she'd recently purchased. "I've been thinking about that a lot lately." "And?" Renee prompted gently. "And I think this might be more than just dressing up for fun." The words felt monumental once spoken aloud. "I think Taylor might be who I really am." Renee's expression was thoughtful. "Have you always felt this way?" "Not consciously, no." Taylor thought back to childhood moments, the fascination with her mother's jewelry, the discomfort with certain masculine expectations, the dreams where her body was different. "But looking back, there were signs. I just didn't know how to interpret them." "What are you thinking about doing?" Renee asked. "I don't know yet," Taylor admitted. "This is all still new to me, but I know I'm happier when I'm her, when I'm me." Renee smiled warmly. "Then I'm happy for you, Taylor, whatever you decide." "You don't mind?" Taylor asked, vulnerability clear in her voice.
"This isn't what you signed up for when we started dating."
"I signed up for you," Renee said simply, "whatever form that takes." The conversation marked a turning point. Taylor began researching gender identity, transition processes, and support resources. She joined online forums where others shared similar experiences. The terminology and concepts helped crystallize feelings she'd struggled to articulate. 2 weeks later, Taylor sat across from a therapist specializing in gender identity, wearing jeans and a button-up shirt as Hunter, but speaking Taylor's truth. "I think I've been hiding from myself for a long time," she explained, hands clasped tightly in her lap. "Pretending to be someone I'm not because it seemed easier or safer." The therapist nodded encouragingly. "Many people share that experience. What helped you recognize who you truly are?" "A costume, ironically enough," Taylor replied with a small laugh. "Pretending to be a woman made me realize I wasn't pretending at all." Over the following months, Taylor continued therapy while gradually integrating her true identity into more aspects of her life. In her apartment, she lived fully as Taylor, the auburn wig becoming an extension of herself, the clothes no longer a disguise, but simply her wardrobe. The first real-world test came when she ordered takeout and answered the door as Taylor, wearing the floral dress and full makeup. The delivery person barely glanced up from their phone, handed over the food with a casual, "Here you go, ma'am," and left. That simple interaction, being seen and acknowledged as a woman, filled Taylor with a quiet joy that lingered for days. Telling her parents proved more challenging. After weeks of rehearsing what to say, Taylor finally arranged a video call, dressed as herself in a cream-colored blouse, her auburn hair styled in loose waves. Her mother's surprise was evident immediately. "Hunter? What's going on?" "Mom, Dad," Taylor began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I need to tell you something important. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. My name is Taylor." The silence that followed stretched painfully.
Is this because of your girlfriend?
Her father finally asked.
Is she putting these ideas in your head?
"No, Dad." Taylor shook her head. "Renee has been supportive, but this is about me. I've felt this way for a long time. I just didn't understand it until recently." The conversation that followed was difficult, filled with questions Taylor had anticipated, and some she hadn't. Her mother cried, her father grew quiet, but neither rejected her outright. They asked for time to process, which Taylor granted, knowing this was only the beginning of a longer journey for all of them. 9 months after that first girls' night video call, Taylor began hormone replacement therapy. The physical changes came gradually: softer skin, subtle shifts in fat distribution, emotional changes that felt both challenging and right. She documented the process privately, taking photos each week, marveling at the small transformations. During this time, her relationship with Renee evolved as well. The long distance remained a challenge, but their connection deepened through Taylor's transition. Renee researched alongside Taylor, offered encouragement during difficult days, and celebrated each milestone. "I'm coming to visit," Renee announced during a call, nearly a year after Taylor had begun living as herself full-time. "I've booked a flight for next month. 2 weeks together, in person." "Really?" Taylor's heart raced with both excitement and anxiety. "You'll be meeting the real me for the first time." Renee smiled. "I've been getting to know the real you all along. Now I just get to hug you properly." The day of Renee's arrival, Taylor stood nervously at the airport arrival gate, wearing her favorite pink satin blouse paired with white skinny jeans, an homage to that first transformation, and a simple gold necklace. Her auburn hair, now grown out several inches of her own complemented by the wig, framed her face in soft waves. When Renee emerged through the gate, their eyes met across the crowded terminal. No hesitation flashed across Renee's face, only recognition and joy. She rushed forward, enveloping Taylor in a tight embrace. "You're even more beautiful in person," Renee whispered. Taylor felt tears welling up. "Thank you for seeing me." "Always," Renee promised. The 2 weeks of Renee's visit passed in a blur of shared experiences. They explored the city together, Renee holding Taylor's hand proudly as they navigated crowded streets. They cooked elaborate meals in Taylor's kitchen, dancing to music as pots simmered on the stove. They talked late into the night, curled together on Taylor's couch, discussing dreams and fears and everything in between. On Renee's last night in town, they dressed up for dinner at an upscale restaurant. Taylor wore an elegant black dress with sparkling jewelry, feeling confident and beautiful. The maitre d' greeted them with, "Good evening, ladies," and led them to a table by the window. "A toast," Renee said, raising her wine glass once they were seated. "To living authentically." "To living authentically," Taylor echoed, clinking her glass against Renee's. "And to you, for helping me find my way there." You would have found it eventually, Renee said with certainty. I'm just glad I got to witness the journey. After dinner, they walked along the waterfront, the city lights reflecting on the dark surface. Taylor stopped, turning to face Renee. I've been thinking about the future, she said. About us. Me too, Renee admitted.
The distance has been hard.
What if there wasn't any distance? Taylor suggested. What if one of us moved? Renee's eyes widened.
Are you thinking of coming to New York?
I could, Taylor said.
Or you could come here. Or we could find somewhere new together.
I just know I don't want to be apart anymore. My lease is up in 3 months, Renee said, a smile spreading across her face. And I've always liked California. The decision made, they spent the following months preparing for their life together. Taylor continued her transition, each day feeling more aligned with her true self. She legally changed her name, updated her identification documents, and navigated the complexities of being transgender in the workplace. Some colleagues adapted quickly, others struggled with pronouns and her new name, but the company's HR department proved supportive, implementing policies to ensure Taylor's comfort and safety. Her immediate supervisor, a woman named Monica, became an unexpected ally, shutting down inappropriate questions and modeling respectful behavior for others. You seem happier, Monica observed during a coffee break. More confident. I am, Taylor confirmed, stirring her latte. Living authentically will do that. It suits you, Monica said simply. 3 months later, Taylor stood in her apartment, soon to be their apartment, waiting for Renee's arrival. The space had been transformed, freshly painted walls in warm cream tones, new curtains, a larger bed, closet space cleared for Renee's belongings. Taylor had even adopted a cat, a gray tabby named Jasper, who now dozed contentedly on the windowsill. The doorbell rang, and Taylor took a deep breath before answering. Renee stood there, surrounded by suitcases, her smile radiant. Welcome home, Taylor said, stepping aside to let her in. Home, Renee repeated, entering the apartment and immediately wrapping Taylor in a tight embrace. I like the sound of that. That evening, as they unpacked Renee's belongings, integrating their lives in tangible ways, Taylor found herself overwhelmed with gratitude. She paused, holding a framed photograph of the two of them from Renee's previous visit. I never would have imagined this, she said softly. 1.5 years ago, I was just Hunter, living a half-life, not even knowing what I was missing. Renee took the frame, setting it on the nightstand. And now? Now I'm just Taylor, she said, the name feeling right on her lips, in her heart. Finally, completely myself. Renee kissed her cheek. And that's all anyone can really ask for. The following months brought new adjustments as the couple settled into cohabitation. They established routines, discovered each other's quirks and habits, negotiated shared spaces. Renee found a job at a local marketing firm, while Taylor continued her work in software development, now bringing her authentic self to the office each day. Taylor's relationship with her parents gradually improved as well. Initial resistance gave way to cautious acceptance, then genuine effort to understand. Her mother called regularly, consistently using the right name and pronouns. Her father took longer to adjust, but eventually managed a visit, his awkwardness evident, but his love unchanged.
You look happy,
he observed during dinner at Taylor and Renee's apartment.
Happier than I remember seeing you before.
I am happy, Dad, Taylor confirmed, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. This is who I was always meant to be. On the 1-year anniversary of Renee's move to California, they celebrated with a small gathering of friends. Some from Taylor's pre-transition life who had stood by her. Others new relationships formed since her emergence as her true self. Their apartment filled with laughter and conversation, the warm glow of acceptance surrounding them. Late that night, after everyone had left, Taylor and Renee stood on their small balcony, looking out at the city lights. Taylor wore a deep blue dress that complemented her auburn hair, now mostly her own, with just small extensions to add length and volume. The warm breeze carried the scent of the potted herbs they'd planted together. "I have something for you," Renee said, pulling a small box from her pocket. "An anniversary gift." Taylor opened it to find a delicate silver bracelet, engraved with a single word: authentic. "It's perfect," Taylor whispered, slipping it onto her wrist. "There's something else," Renee said, her voice suddenly nervous. She reached into her pocket again, producing a second, smaller box. Dropping to one knee, she looked up at Taylor with eyes full of love. "Taylor, this journey with you has been the most beautiful experience of my life. Would you marry me?" The question hung in the air, filled with possibility. Taylor felt tears welling up, emotion overwhelming her. This moment, this future, had once seemed impossible, a life she couldn't even imagine for herself. "Yes," she answered, her voice clear and certain. "Yes, I will marry you." Renee slipped the ring onto Taylor's finger, rose to her feet, and pulled her fiancé into a tender embrace. Their life together stretched before them, built on a foundation of truth, acceptance, and love. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms under the vast night sky, Taylor reflected on the incredible journey from that first video call to this moment. What had begun as a playful experiment, a pink satin blouse, white skinny jeans, and an auburn wig, had revealed her truest self, leading her to a life more authentic and fulfilling than she had ever dared to dream. Taylor was home, not just in this apartment or this city, but in her own body, her own identity, her own truth. The woman in the mirror was no longer a costume or a character, but simply, completely, herself. And that, she knew with absolute certainty, was the greatest transformation of all.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!